What's up, YouTube? It's my man Zen, aka Zenmus. I'm here again with Gamer Menace, or is it? I think you go by something different now. Is it? Was it Comic
Oh,
Gamer or Comic Menace? I think it was changed to Comic
yeah.
Menace.
Comet Menace is my other channel, but I
Okay,
am
okay.
thinking about changing the name to Pat Pat's Wild Adventures. It's
Okay,
gonna be
okay.
like a mixture of different stuff. That way, I don't have to just like put one thing on one channel or something like that. Because I'm gonna be doing some animations and stuff like that. Try to
That's
anyway.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, yeah. No problem. No problem. So those links, or at least the links that he currently has, will be down in the description. So make sure you guys go check that out. Again, my name is Zen, aka Zenmus, member of Team Makai. We have some things that will be changing pretty soon with Team Makai. I think you guys will enjoy it and like it. But until next year really pretty much starts up and we get on the road running, you will be seeing more and more content from me, mainly in this format where we're just kind of sitting here chilling, talking, having a little powwow and a couple of drinks. I got a couple of drinks right here on my desk as well. Just kind of chilling.
Yep.
But more recently, sorry if you just heard me hit that microphone, but more recently, I had watched the Spider-Man No Way Home movie, and Richard has also watched the Spider-Man No Way Home movie. So before we even get started, he also watched The Matrix. I have not watched the Matrix movie yet. I don't really truly plan on watching it. I may
Oh,
watch
good
it.
for you.
Yeah, I may.
I wish I haven't. I'll
I
be
may
honest.
watch it. Like maybe in like passing, or I may watch like somebody else do a review. But we're gonna have Richard here. He's gonna be talking about it. But myself, I will kind of be just gleaming information from him as well. But before we start with Matrix, yeah, what's up?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, before we start with Matrix, let's go into Spider-Man first, something that we both know,
Okay.
and then we'll do Matrix. But did you have anything you wanted to add on to about Matrix?
Well, the one thing I want to add about Matrix, I just warn anyone, if you really like the original stuff before this new one came out, do not watch it, please. It's gonna ruin everything for you.
So,
But that's just the warning, because I don't want no one to experience the feeling that I had, after watching it. But that's all I gotta say for the beginning before going into it in the second part of this.
all right, so so just let's see. We're gonna go into Spider-Man, which super love that movie. I also wanted to say something. I can't remember the Twitter or like the Twitter profile that I saw, but I've been seeing it here and or there. With regards to, sorry, that's my phone. With regards to, someone said that Spider-Man was more of a spectacle than it was an actual cohesive and or good story. Now to that, I can attest to and or agree that the story was a little over the place. A lot of what was happening was engineered and or tailored for there to be a major conflict. More or less, there was no communication between Doctor Strange and Spider-Man when it came to how the incantation worked. There was no verbal warning of Doctor Strange telling Peter to step outside of the actual magic circle or the spell and whatnot. I don't know why he brought Peter into the room with him just for him to actually do the spell. It was all a lot of MacGuffins, or not even MacGuffins, a lot of different plot holes that brought everything together. I agree with that. Sorry, I keep hitting my mic. I agree with that wholeheartedly. However,
Well,
yeah, go
just the tidbit on the whole spell situation. I do understand the whole notion of what you're saying about like it didn't make sense, because at first I thought maybe he was there because he needed Peter to be present, because like having his presence would be part of the spell. But not the. Maybe I should talk about this later because it's kind of a mid spoiler thing to go more into
Well,
the
well,
ending of the movie.
we're already in spoiler territory, and if you're still watching and you don't want this to be spoiled, please tune out and tune back in after you watch the Spider-Man movie. Please do that. Um, but for me, just from my personal experience, or just not even personal experience, just from what would be common sense to me, especially when let's say you're someone that's working in the tech field, right? You're dealing with computers, you're dealing with monitors, and yada yada yada. You're dealing with different components of computer. There are certain precautions you take, especially when you're working on a system that is not yours. in order to, let's say, not short circuit or send electrical sparks through the computer, where you make sure you yourself as a person you're grounded, right? You have like there's an armband that you could wear that helps with that. You're supposed to make sure you're on a hardwood floor. You're not supposed to be walking around a carpet with socks. There's precautions that you take. Strange just kind of walked down into the basement with Peter. Didn't really tell him anything. Didn't warn him not to do this. Was telling him in the middle of him already talking, but it's like, you're already doing what you're doing. If there was a big problem with Peter even being there and or talking, you would have said that prior to. Like, normally when you're like setting up something, or you're like I think we both can attest to this. Growing up, we're in the car with our mothers, and we're about to go into a store. And they'll give us the spiel, like, don't ask for anything, don't touch anything, don't wander off, yada yada. They'll give you the kind of rundown of what you need to expect when you go in there, so you know not to mess it up and not make your mother upset. So that was in my mind what should have happened, but what ended up happening was the whole spell being changed. All that to say, I still enjoy the movie. It was one of the few movies that I've watched recently where I did not feel like I needed to poke holes. Like, after the fact, I started poking holes here and there, but I still enjoyed the movie. Like, it was one of the rare occasions where I just sit back and just enjoy the entertainment in front of me.
Yeah. I like, one thing that was different from the trailer than the actual movie is that the part where I forgot his name, but the guy that they said is now the Sorcerer Supreme.
Wong. Yeah, Wong.
Yeah, Wong. I don't know why I forgot that. Yeah, Wong didn't say don't do that in the movie. Instead, like Strange say something like, "Remember this? When that happened?" And you're like, "No." And you're like, "Exactly," and stuff like that. And he just be like, "Oh well, I'm not a part of this," and then leave. Which, what I was expecting from the trailer, or some connection with like why he said, more about like when he said don't do this, and then he leave, and then Strange be like, "Oh yeah, sure, wink, I'm gonna do it anyway." So the fact that I guess they wanted to trick people on that scene or something, I don't know. Um, but the fact that he just be like, "Well, if you do it, you do it. It's up to you." Like the characteristics of Strange was a little bit weird, which other people like was predicting that maybe wasn't Strange and stuff like that. That's how weird that whole situation was.
Have you seen the trailer for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness?
Oh yeah, I seen it.
Oh man, that movie is going to be crazy. And
Yeah,
just to talk about it, I definitely thought that for Marvel in particular, because the multiverse is such a complex and can be shrewd, and there can be so many contradictions because it's so complex and complicated. I didn't think they would take a full dive into it. I thought they would kind of be more gradual, which they, in a sense, they were. But if we go back to the show Loki, again, you haven't watched the show, highly recommend on Disney Plus. There are probably other platforms you can watch it on, but I know it's primarily on Disney Plus, so watch it there. This is not an ad. There's no ad. I just enjoyed the Marvel stuff on Disney Plus and some of the Star Wars, like the Mandalorian and the Boba Fett show that's gonna be coming out too. Yeah, okay. But in the Loki show, we got a little bit of a glimpse and a little bit of a backstory of what the multiverse is. There was a multiversal war at one point in time, and that was, you can consider that a gradual change, because the next time we really got a multiverse was with WandaVision, where she was kind of warping reality, and then we get the Spider-Man movie. The Spider-Man movie where we're more deep into the multiverse, which I have to go back. There's a scene towards the end of the movie, and again, spoiler. I always try to say this because I know we're gonna have a comment like, "Oh, you spoiled the movie for me." I'm like, we warned you like at least 30 times in the entire video, so you cannot say that. But towards the end of that movie, with Doctor Strange trying to hold the multiverse, or at least our universe or the 616 universe together, uh, we saw silhouettes of different individuals that different from different universes, and there was a line that Doctor Strange said in the movie that it really kind of hit home with. That seems cool. That would be a cool concept, and I really kind of hope they do. But the spell got warped and changed to where everybody that knew who Peter Parker was, or I think either Peter Parker or Spider-Man was looking for him, would come to this planet or come to this universe, and that put me in the mindset of the Inheritors. Do you know the Inheritors?
Oh, yeah. Never thought about that, the Inheritors, but
the Inheritors, yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind. Like, the Inheritors would be such a cool thing to see, and that'll be a cool way to bring in Miles or bring in some other Spider-Man from other universes. I mean, Superior Spider-Man would be amazing. I would love to see that, but no here nor there.
It made me think about Jamie Foxx little comment in the movie. Like, okay, yeah. They basically, I don't know if that's a setup for Miles Morales or not.
Oh yeah, I was hoping you'd be black, the black Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, you helping out people in I thought you.
Oh,
like, really?
It definitely was a nod. It definitely was a nod to Miles Morales, and that'd be awesome to see Miles on the big screen, or I mean, in the live action. But we have him in Into the Spider-Verse. I saw the trailer for Into the Spider-Verse 2. It's looking super good. Really looking forward to that movie. But yeah, like, what did you personally think of the Aunt May situation, like before, during, and then after with Aunt May? What did you think, like for her arc in the movie?
I think it was pretty good. Like, I somewhat saw it had coming. I knew that it was gonna be either his Aunt May or Mary Jane that was gonna bite the dust. But like, people predictions kind of ruined it for me, so I was like, oh yeah, it's just gonna be Aunt May, because everyone was like predicting that Amazing Spider-Man was gonna make up for his screw up, his girlfriend, and the MCU Spider-Man girlfriend and stuff, and Saber. So,
hey, what's wild about that is during the movie, once we got introduced to all of the villains, and like Peter was talking to them in their cells at the time. Lawrence, I was at the movies with him, we were watching, and he said a comment that it made me laugh, and it made me laugh even harder because it became true. And he was like, he said exactly what you said. One of those two are going to die. Because when me and him, we didn't do any of like the trying to predict, and we didn't like do any like, because you see it on Twitter all the time. I kind of ignored everything, and then finally when the movie comes out, he's like, one of those two is going to die, and I feel like it's going to be Aunt May. But how did you feel about the with great power comes great responsibility line that was delivered? Did you feel like it was forced, corny, or?
Well, I don't think it was forced, but it was interesting that they made it where instead of it's strange, but because like in other movies he kind of hint that his Uncle Ben said it, but in this movie they made it where like his Uncle Ben didn't say it, and she's like the first one to say it. So I was like, oh, okay. Like the other two Spider-Mans, they Uncle Ben said it, and I guess since the MCU is killing his aunt, they're gonna make her say it. And so in the MCU version, his aunt said it instead of his Uncle Ben. So I was like, okay.
It did feel a bit forced, and it called into question for me. This is just my opinion. It felt forced, but it was more of how we got to that situation. Literally, everything that transpired, in some sense or form, was on the shoulders of Peter. He made decisions that cost and put others around him in danger simply because he was trying to have it all. And that is in common, or that's basically like his character trope throughout a lot of Marvel comics, is just that he tries to have it all. He tries to be the best Spider-Man he could be, but not also like the best husband or the best friend and nephew, things of that nature. And watching it felt very unrealistic that Peter, who just turned 18 in the movie, trying to go to college and whatnot, decided to go out of his way to save people that he did not know, but also knew that they were considered villains in their own separate universes, right?
Well, I got answers for that, but do you want me to say it now or wait until you finish?
Let's see it.
Downright by him being young and a teenager, that whole resulting in him trying to save them was peer pressure. First, it was his Aunt May, where he was just like,
that's what I was getting to. Like, it was her. It felt the great power and great responsibility thing felt really off, because she goaded him into saving or curing them. It was like, oh, that's what we do. That virtue signaling in my mind is, in a sense, was like, you could have done that with them still in those cells. You could have done that completely with them still in their cells. You could have brought the equipment. There was nothing forcing you to take them into a public condo in the middle of the city where they could have done literally anything. The only reason why, because you were like, oh, I can fix. Who says that to someone? Who says I can fix you to someone's face? Like, to them, they're like, I don't need to be fixed. Like, what? Like, they're kind of stuck in their ways. We get it. It just felt weird. And the Aunt May thing, where she was, when Green Goblin or Norman Osborn came into that whatever her charity thing, he came into there. It felt off that she was so trying to be like, oh, we have to help him, but it does fit with her character, because she runs that shelter and whatnot. Yeah. She's been doing that charity work all her life, it seems. But it's like, the sentiment was there, but then it was lost on deaf ears for me, because like, these guys have killed people. Like, these guys have killed people. These guys have murdered or robbed and done so much. Like, we get that they have their faults, but why put other people in danger just to save these individuals?
Yeah, look, that's another thing. I feel like her death was kind of forced. Is like, I mean, even if he would have told her to run away and she didn't listen to him, there's too many like comic issues and animations where Spider-Man would be like, "Well, let me just book out of here and draw the attention away from this area, so people be safe and stuff." I feel like the whole factor of her dying probably didn't need to be happening, but I think they maybe felt when they did the movie where it wouldn't have no impact unless someone died or something.
Well, I definitely feel like it was a definite needed character arc for Peter. And again, I want people to know that we enjoyed this movie. Like, a 10 out of 10 for me. Like, I may be pointing out some of the flaws, but I also liked a lot of the stuff about the movie. I like to be fair in my judgment, but again, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. I would watch it multiple times in one sitting if I really had the chance to or really want to. In theaters, by the way, I would watch it again.
I definitely recommend to go see it. It's really good.
So in the first movie, the Homecoming, it was more of Peter having an understanding that he is Spider-Man, not the suit, not like not the Iron Man suit. Like, he didn't need the Iron Man suit. He thought he needed it to be the best Spider-Man he could be. He was trying to prove himself, to join the Avengers. He was trying to grow up way too quickly, and in that movie you got to see him grow and be more of, okay, I'm gonna be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I gotta take it slow. I gotta really gain experience before I move to bigger and better things. And then the second movie, for No Way Home, it was more or less the legacy and the pressure of Iron Man. After Iron Man had passed, it was more of, again, trying to find who he is, make himself be the better Spider-Man, or to be not Iron Man Jr., just to be Spider-Man, be Peter Parker. And it was just kind of that same kind of a thing. But again, in both of those movies, there were no necessarily consequences that were, Peter was the sole reason for. He never really had to deal with. If he was cleaning something up, it was the mess of someone else, right? It was not something that he himself initiated. Because in the first movie, it was cleaning up the mess of Tony Stark and the Avengers because the Vulture was getting a hold of their tech and whatnot. Then the second movie, it was cleaning up the mess of Tony Stark because Mysterio and all those other employees for Tony were pissed at him. So they took it out on Peter because Peter was his mentee and whatnot. And then in the third movie, we get more of Peter's going into adulthood. He hasn't really had any actual loss in his life other than Uncle Ben. I would say, like, someone he's actually known, and then Tony. But it was more or less, we don't know about how Uncle Ben died. I guess we in not in this Marvel Spider-Man, but for Tony, it was more Tony did this himself. Tony was Iron Man. Tony was like an icon, a hero. So him dying was more or less, okay, he chose this life. He chose to do this. Aunt May dying was more of Peter chose to be the hero. Peter chose to save everyone and save all these people. Peter chose to go and get the help of Doctor Strange and get this spell done. It was all the decisions of Peter that led to this and ended up getting his Aunt May killed. And it was more of a character. Again, it's his character growing. It was a really good three movie arc. They kind of moved to the next ones. And if I'm going to be completely honest, the addition of Toby and Andrew Garfield in the movie was by far the best thing they could have ever done for this movie, because having them in it and then making it be that they are just other Spider-Man from different universes was such a good idea. Because now, and it personally, this movie made me appreciate Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man a little bit more, just a little bit more. Like, I didn't really like Amazing Spider-Man, like the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. They were okay movies in that of themselves. 6 out of 10 for me, not the best, but had potential for more. Now with them being in this movie, kind of getting more of a feel for their characters interacting with each other, it felt like, okay, I'm kind of in agreement with the people that I see online talking about we need Amazing Spider-Man 3 to finish off his trilogy. I'm like, I don't mind. I really enjoyed Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, like, especially in this movie. Like, it was a good fit.
Well, yeah, it was something else to have them all together on one screen. Like something that most people would have never imagined would have been able to be done. Actually, it's done now. You get to see like a multiverse like thing, like different Spider-Mans all together. It's pretty cool to see that. And it's interesting that first Spider-Man, he don't use spider cartridges. And the other two, like, it just come out of your arm.
which was very funny.
Only your arm.
It was very funny because they were very curious about that. Like, that's crazy. That was a nice addition. But we won't. I could talk about Spider-Man for at least for hours, but we will go ahead and transition to The Matrix. Richard, you've seen that movie. Can you give us a little bit of an overview or your takeaways from said movie?
Like, that's one thing. Many people were saying that The Matrix and Spider-Man was like doing somewhat the same thing, but Spider-Man pulled it off where Matrix didn't. That was like the nostalgia of the other stuff connecting in the movie and being played off of. But yeah, the Matrix did not really pull it off that good. It was kind of sloppy, and like most of the movie is watching old movie scenes, and the Neo in this one is a little. It's kind of like he's taken away from everything that he was able to do. He can't fly and stuff like that. And they made that a whole gimmick in there. Like, I heard you can fly, and then later on they come back to it, and you're like, the same guy's like, can you fly now? And you're like, oh, let me try. Oh, no, I can't. But
Lawrence told me about that. He was like, Neo, the three-part Matrix trilogy was actually in this movie considered just a video game that he created, and that he went to
yeah,
a therapy session
basically.
saying that, oh, that's just that's just you using, being too into your video game, causing you to kind of fuse reality with fantasy. Which when I was told that, I'm like, that sounds like a very shitty way to explain that or to have that happen. Cause that sucks. That sucks. That if
Well,
that's the case.
when that happened, also, I didn't really pay attention to all the conversation about the game thing, and I came back to it after like walking away from the movie for a bit, um, because I realized the character that says he's Morpheus is just a computer generated AI or whatever, and so I was like, so basically, they made a matrix inside of a matrix. Is basically the character, the female, there's a female, I can't remember her name, but she got blue hair when she's in the matrix.
Mm.
So in the beginning she's checking out this program in the matrix, in which is the game that Neo makes
Mm.
in the matrix, which is, once again, it's trippy because it's a matrix inside a matrix, but it has different people playing out the characters, but they don't last through the whole movie. It's just like a simple thing, and she pulls the agent as Smith slash Morpheus out of the program and into the original Matrix. And so you can kind of like, they skip over it, but you can kind of tell that he's pissed that Neo made this whole Matrix thing that he was stuck in, and he was programmed as being half Smith, Agent Smith, and Morpheus. So it like made him kind of like mentally disabled, I guess, or whatever. And he was kind of upset about programming him as that, but not to stay on him too long. Other thing is like they bring. That's another thing though. There's another Agent Smith, the original, but there's someone else playing him, and they just play it off that he's been designed to look different,
Was it played by
and
Neil
that
Patrick
was
Harris?
kind of I don't know his name, but he was basically the guy that supposed to own the gaming company that Neo is working for. So um
All that
and
sounds so convoluted.
yeah,
It's so
it
convoluted.
lost my interest pretty quick. It lost my interest pretty quick. I like not that long in the movie. I'm like, oh, this is just gonna suck. But I wanna see where they're going at with this. I wish I just would have ended it, but I just kept through the watch all the way to the end try to grasp what they're trying to do. But there's a lot of political stuff that like other movies is doing that they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go over it because some people might get mad about what I gotta say about it.
Yeah,
But
no problem, no problem.
like basically, that movie ends like let's see, like part two. No, part one. It ends exactly like part one, but with both Neo and Trinity. So, and if people don't know that's listening what I'm talking about from part one, basically, Neo he's in a phone booth talking to the agents or someone I can't remember exactly, and he say some phrases to make it short, and he flies away. He says like, I'm gonna show everyone what they could do and stuff like that when they break free and all that. And that's basically what happens at the end of this movie. But it's like Neo and Trinity, and they're basically talking to that was supposed to be the big baddie of this movie, and then they fly away. So I was like, so basically, this movie is just you watching the other movies, which I'm like, okay, I could have just actually watched the originals. This didn't add nothing to what already was made or anything. You know, I mean, that's how I feel anyway.
Yeah.
Other people who might have got something out of this, but I didn't. I mean, they could have did way better. This is a movie I've been waiting for ever since the end of the last one,
Mhm.
and I was like, they didn't. I don't know
It didn't
how they got
deliver.
yeah, didn't deliver. I don't know how they got Keanu Reeves to do this. I mean, he's a nice guy though, so I guess maybe he just like, oh, they asked, I'm gonna do it,
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's rich enough that if this was a movie he didn't like, he probably wouldn't have did if he didn't
I
want to,
mean,
because
he
he's like,
still
I got enough
has.
money.
Yeah, I mean, and then he also still has John Wick 4 coming out next year that he's still starring in, and like he, he he's still definitely an iconic celebrity right now. He's like very popular right now, especially with his involvement with Cyberpunk. Even though that game didn't pan out the best,
Yeah.
it did generate a lot
Oh,
of
they
just
so much drama with
yeah, a
Cyberpunk right
lot of
now.
drama, with that game back then and now. Um, it makes me think about the Avatar, not the Last Airbender, the actual with like the blue character Avatar movies. The
Hmm.
one that, which it is wild that that movie in particular is still, I think it's still the most sold or like the most grossing movie in the world, or at least in America.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, I think it's still at the top, which is wild to even think of and or believe. I definitely believe it because the movie in that of itself, it was okay. It's a 6 out of 10 if anything. There were some deleted scenes or some scenes particularly, yeah, some deleted scenes that I had seen of the movie that if they were put in the movie would make the movie an 8 out of 10 at least. Like it would, those scenes were that much better in terms of explaining,
Oh,
showing
okay.
off character development, showing off character importance. There is some stuff that really does get left on the floor with a lot of these movies that is just genuinely good, and it really hurts. It really makes me scratch my head when a lot of stuff gets cut, and sometimes it's not even cut by the director. It's cut by like executives. Like, well, we got to shave it
Yeah,
down.
the
We gotta,
suits.
like the suits. It's like, man, if you guys would just lay off, we would have some really good movies out. But
We have some good movies, video games,
oh yeah, oh
everything
god,
around. But the
everything,
suits
especially for
ruins
entertainment,
everything.
because they are detached from reality. It feels like they live in a bubble when it comes to just, oh, we're gonna stick with trends and that's it. Anything
Yeah,
that's
they
trending that's
only
gonna
care
make us
about
money,
making money.
that's all we care about. And again, their businesses, I can't really be mad at that. If a business at the end of the day is something, an entity to make money, right? But
Yeah.
I feel like, I really do feel like gatekeeping should be made when it comes to these companies, because they will enter these spaces and they will just preterize or just dry up a lot of the resources. They'll just basically just be vampires when it comes to, like, let's say the gaming space. You'll have it, or esports in particular, like esports. You'll have these companies
Mhm.
that will make a game without even building it towards esports, but will promote it as if there's esports being like actually backed up in the game. Then the game flops, or the esports of the game flops, and that company will just run with all their money and won't care about any of the gamers, any of the fans, none of that. They'll just take their money and run to the next project. And or these companies that will sit here and make a game year after year after year after year. And it pains me that now Assassin's Creed has become a live service game. It's
Oh
like
man, really?
they've gotten away from the story, and like it became more of just, how can we throw in as many microtransactions as possible. Now you got games trying to do NFTs, you have games trying to make their base price go to $70. It's like, you're not even actually giving us quality content and you're still trying to drain more money out of us. And I just really would
It's
like more, I really would like more people to actually give a lot of these indie games a chance. Like these indie games, these indie
yeah,
developers,
yeah.
give them a chance. Step away from these big AAA games, because the majority of the time they are pretty awful. especially in recent years. I'm giving a lot of indie games more of a try. I've been giving a lot more RPG or like action RPGs more of a try, and they're just it's so much better, just 100% way better. Like, so
Yeah, that's why I'm really into side scroller games, you know,
yeah,
because most of the time that's the type of games that most indie creators have the ability to make more easier than 3D games. And it's also funny because like someone at work asked me like, are you planning on making a game? Because they seen some of my art and I was like, oh, I would need a programmer for that.
yeah.
So I was like, nah, not really. I was like, I might come up with ideas, maybe to like throw out there to people or something. But
There's
man,
this,
yeah, like, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. No, you go ahead. I have a thought. You go ahead. Good.
Oh, I was just gonna be like, yeah, like people should try any game creators more often because, like, I know right now I'm completely done with Call of Duty. I'm never gonna get any more Call of Duties.
Welcome to the club.
or
Welcome to the club.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure the last one I bought with my own money was Black Ops 4, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't remember how many were after that, but I have stopped buying any of the Call of Duties. My brother, so he buy. I think he bought the most recent one, but it's literally just to play zombies. And he's talking about he's just to play zombies. And I'm like, that's probably the better thing to do with those games. At least zombies actually feels like it has been like worked on, and there's things to do. I had to talk to him about his experiences in the game, but he seems to enjoy it, so it's better than the multiplayer. Because the multiplayer has always been pretty bad. The competitive the competitive scene is horrendous. It is so bad, and I barely even keep up with it. I see things every now and then that have just compiled into a mess of just bugs, glitches. They with COVID and their LAN events not happening, right? And one thing, the biggest thing that makes it even worse, that there does not seem to be any actual support for their competitive scene. Like, very little support for the competitive scene, but they had every esports team that wanted to opt into the Call of Duty League or the CDL have to pay $25 million for a spot. Who pays $25 million for a spot, but the actual developers and the company don't support the game in a competitive sphere? They make the game tailored towards casual players than anything. Like, honestly, just from an outsider's perspective, it looks like they spend more time customizing skins and skin packs than they do actually fixing the gameplay bugs or the cheaters, the rampant cheaters in their game. The fact that it took a year before we got even a sniff of a anti-cheat for that game makes no sense.
I don't even think the anti-cheat is working because I've seen some YouTubers like playing. And they say it's like still going on.
And no anti-cheat is perfect, but you're not gonna sit here and like, you're not, as a company, for one, not as a like a multi-billion-dollar company as Activision Blizzard is. You're not gonna sit here and have me sit at a table as you try to explain to me why your AAA multi-billion-dollar company and franchise does not launch with an anti-cheat. At least a very simple basic one, right? It didn't launch with one. There was none. A anti-cheat is better than no anti-cheat. It makes no sense whatsoever. But that is how much Activision Blizzard, or at least in my mind, how much they actually value their customers' time. They don't. They just don't at all. There's one game that I actually. Oh no, you're fine. There's one game that I actually literally just downloaded not too long ago. I saw a video about it. It's called Breakwaters. Breakwaters.
Oh, I never heard of that. I gotta look that up.
It's an indie game where it's an adventure through an ever-changing oceanic world that evolves the way you interact with water. You can swim, sail, and fly to find new islands with unique resources to build, craft, and survive. And then you can join your friends online to build a home to defend or defeat massive titans, bringing calm to the waves. So you literally
you're basically in like a third-person Minecraft type of world, but it has a different texture and whatnot with boats with cannons, and you're farming and whatnot. You're building up your defenses so you can fight these legitimate behemoth titans in the world. They have a bunch of different abilities and whatnot. It's really cool looking, and it reminds me of a third-person camera for that game called Tribes of Midgard, which is another really good indie developed game, Tribes of Midgard. There's mazes and whatnot in this game as well. A bunch of survival. There's like a bunch of mechanics where you can make the water split, like your Moses and whatnot. There's like you can make irrigation systems. It looks really cool, and I'm looking forward to playing it. I just went on and downloaded it. I'm gonna help a couple friends see if they want to try to play it as well. But cool game. If you're in the chat right now, and Richard as well, check it out. It's called Breakwaters. Currently, it's only on Steam. That's where most of the indie games that I play are on. But yeah, it's pretty dope.
Okay. But they definitely need to start making some more creative games, because like all the game companies that keep making the same game and don't really got any games to like be entertaining anymore. It's just starting to be like, why? Like, why are they still getting this much money from people and their games suck?
Because it's most of the time it's just people will just have fun in most games, and if they find an aspect of a game that they have fun, they'll probably just play it until they can't play it anymore. And for me, I am on the side of I believe people should, or at least developing companies should, take other ideas from other companies. And other people are like, oh well, that's just copying. Well, you see, if they can take an idea from a different game and implement it into theirs, but then also add their own flavor to it, or change up the concept just a bit to make not to change the functionality of it, but to kind of change like the cosmetic of it in a sense. I don't mind that. If it works for another game, it can work for this game, right? That's for me. That's my aspect from it. I don't want you to try to take a concept from a game and then change the entire functionality of it, and just think if you implement it because you took it from a different game and it worked in that game, it'll just automatically work. You should actually take your time, add something to it, change something up just a bit. You don't have to change the whole thing. Don't change the function of whatever aspect you took from that game, because the reason why it's working is because whatever that function is, whatever people are getting out of it, that's why they play it or they come back, because of that function. Just taking that function and then immediately like transforming what the actual function is, it's like there's no point now, because that's not what people came for. Like how like Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2 and the world versus world PvP, like that's pretty dope. Like that's a great concept for another company to take and then adjust so that it doesn't necessarily is an exact copy from Guild Wars, but it is their unique take on that same concept in a sense. I think more games should do that, but it's I don't know. I hear a lot when I say that. I hear a lot of people, oh, they're just going to be copying from a different game, and I'm like, honestly, I'm trying to think of ideas for games. I have a lot of different ideas, but whether or not it is feasible, I have no idea, because I don't have access to that technology or to those engines. I'm not a programmer myself, so when it comes to implementing those ideas, I have no idea whether or not it will pan out. Like, we can sit here and we can brainstorm different concepts and different things and different creatures and mechanics and whatnot, but it's very hard to do that and then transition it to where it's actually applicable or you can use it in a player base that ranges from hundreds of people to thousands to millions, because you never know. People spend time looking for the bugs, the glitches, or the ways they can break a system, and they will try to break your system that you have in your game. I want developers to understand that is literally what people do. So if they do it, do not be upset. Do not alienate your player base, because that is just going to make it that much harder to develop that game, or that much harder for you to ever put something out that people are going to be like, okay, well, that's worth my time. Because right now,
anything dealing with WoW or anything dealing with Blizzard / Activision is being looked at with a microscope because of all the stuff that's happening in their company, for one. For two, a lot of the creators, or a lot of creators that I follow that even have dealings with Activision Blizzard, are practically being alienated or looked at as the bad guy because they have criticisms for that company. It's like it's not like they're just bad mouthing you to be bad mouthing you. They're telling you what's wrong and why they don't like what they like. But for you to sit here and make it seem like they're just like one in particular, Asmongold, he's always very vocal with regards to his distaste for a lot of the stuff that Blizzard has been doing, mainly just like the paid level boosts and things of that nature. He's very vocal about that, and he has some very good discussions about, you know, there's been multiple examples of it just not working in the game and out of the game, and there's been posts by developers to Asmongold in particular just calling him like a hater, or saying that he's just him and his little hateful army of viewers do nothing but talk crap about the game. It's like you're missing the whole point. You yourself as a developer going out of your way to try to demonize another just a content creator who's done nothing but play your game for 15 plus years, who loves your game, sends a bad message to the rest of the fans, to the rest of the people. Hell, even me, I've never played World of Warcraft, but I have a aversion towards the game, mainly because of developers. I've seen them tweet at other content creators and call them shitty. It's like what are you doing? I don't want to play your game if you're gonna call them shitty. It's like, I wonder what you think about me, a nameless player. You probably really don't care. I'm just a number on your statistical board or whatever. And I have rambled on long enough. Did you have anything else you wanted to add? This is more maybe just my
I was just listening to information. I didn't know much, like some of the stuff you were saying, and I was like, I didn't know that were happening and stuff. But yeah, I have heard about the whole like situation with Blizzard and stuff like that, and that's bad that that's going on, and it's bad that the situation was going on for that long without any replications on it. I will say I was gonna ask you like the game ideals, what was they ideals that you was okay with talking about, or if was there something that you wanted to keep private? But other than that, I was thinking about like I wish there was somewhere where people that like any creators could go to get more support, you know, for doing their games. That way, maybe people would have a better chance at playing games that's more interesting, and won't be stuck with like these corporations that have all the power, so they make the games, and like buyers don't really got that much of a choice.
You know, and right now, currently, those gaming ideas they've actually, I've been thinking about it for years, but I've seen them slowly but surely be implemented into other games, and I was like, oh man, I gotta think of something new, because I see games starting to do those type of things now. But those are we can have a discussion about those at a different time. When it comes to indie games, I'm seeing a lot of former developers for these major companies like Activision Blizzard, or for what is that name of the other? There's another one that but like for Activision Blizzard in particular, those are the ones that are currently on my mind. Their developers are like kind of going off and starting their own companies with other developers from other different companies and coming together. So it's like a lot of good talent is coming, and a lot of good games are going to be on the way that are for indie or smaller companies. My only problem, not even a problem, my only concern is, again, it's the whole corporation aspect of it, or the whole monetization aspect of it. I am all for supporting a small company. I'm all for supporting an indie company. However, it feels weird when you, let's say, because Amazon they have their game development company, and I'm pretty sure they also have their like production company, or like their game producing, so they produce a game and whatnot. They kind of support and fund, or like they're a funding company, because they have a lot of resources.
I myself, if let's say I see indie company B, up and coming indie company B, have an amazing game, amazing concept, like a Dungeon and Dragon style type game mixed with some spacecraft and whatnot, that'd be awesome. Just thinking about that, that'd be awesome. However, if I see that they're getting their funding from a company like Amazon, I'm going to be a little adverse to it, mainly because I don't necessarily trust Amazon as a company or just as a whole. And it's more of, how much is this your original idea, or how much is this like purely, not necessarily a passion project, but more of you actually care for your game? I guess, yeah, passion project. And then what's the other half of, you had to compromise, you had to change stuff, you had to take stuff out, you had to add, you were forced to add a shop, or like not necessarily a shop, like a battle pass, because I feel like every game is adding their form or version of a battle pass to their game. Like there's one game that I've been playing a lot of, Valorant from Riot Games. There might be a loot box added to their game, and I am not the biggest fan of that. Like I'm gonna be completely honest. It to me, it feels like a slap in the face, because they've already developed a lot of skins, hundreds of skins, right? Their game has a lot of skins in it. I've already spent a good bit of money on just skins in the game, but I've always been a fan of, if there's a skin that I want, I can just outright buy it. I don't want skins in the game to where I have to literally gamble in order to get them. That's why I don't play gacha games. Gacha games are those games where you get a card or a character, and then you have to get like a certain chance. You get a certain chance to roll a rare or ultra rare character. I don't like those games. I don't like to leave that up to chance. If I want that character, there should be a progression system I can go about to go get that character. If I want that skin, I should be able to just buy that skin outright. Right? That's how I feel like it should work. I want that transaction. I don't want you to give me the option for a transaction, but put it on a chance wheel. That seems stupid, but that's how they generate their revenue. But it's to me personally, it's just a stupid concept.
I mean, it's crazy though. There's a lot of indie creators that got like really great ideas. Like, I think this game is a indie game created by indie creator. I think his name is Inscription, and like it brings back like the decade where people was crazy about Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon cards and stuff like that, and mix it with like horror and stuff like that. And it's interesting the concept that they follow up and stuff. And you would never get that from something like Activision or like even Blizzard and stuff like that. I mean, because there's so many of the game companies, one, they just like copying each other and then putting a little bit of something new on it, and that, like it make it different. But the bad thing is, yeah, they do that because people make them think that make them money though. That's the sad thing though.
Yeah, I mean,
Which it do, because people, some reason, buy these different games that's almost identical to each other and stuff.
I mean, and I can't judge them, because I did that for a while with Call of Duty, and now I know better. Now I'm no longer doing it as much. But like, man, it's it feels like a paradox that we're in. And I'm looking at that game Inscription now. That it looks cool. Yeah, that looks dope. And it has an overwhelmingly positive review on Steam. Like, has 38,000 reviews. So that's pretty awesome. That it got that many reviews and that many positive ones.
They went cool. Over and out, because the weird thing is they actually went somewhere. They made coordinates and buried some game info, and was like they put hidden codes and stuff. And like, I think I heard that some gamers actually found where the person hid some, like, buried the information and stuff. So that's a video awesome. We're gonna look up and take a look at too.
That's awesome. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that's gonna be the end for today. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Richard, or Comic
Oh, yeah.
Menace. You know, different names right now. We'll let you decide on what name you're gonna go by.
Well, right now, yeah, you can just call me Menace because I just
Menace.
add gamer when I'm playing game and comments
No
when I'm making
problemo.
comments.
I currently have so I go by Zenmus and for most Team Kai related stuff, but whenever we're actually gaming and we're in game, I have my original character Proxys. Like that's his character
Oh,
name.
that's your gaming name?
Yeah, that's my gaming name now is Proxys,
Oh,
or
okay.
like so I did my OC or my original character for Dungeons and Dragons, and I chose the name Proxys.
Oh, okay.
Right now that character ability is solo leveling. That is basically my character's kind of kit and or ability. So it's like more of an assassin mage type, but with shadow magic.
Oh, wow! I wish I had a cool name like that. My name, I created my name just for the fact of Phantom Menace stores.
Okay.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah. All
'Cause
right.
at first I had like a not Darth Sidious, but what's his name?
Darth Maul.
Yeah, Darth Maul picture and stuff like that way back.
All right, but yeah, I appreciate it. We're gonna go ahead and call it. Thank you guys. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Links will be down below for both the Team Guy Twitch, Richard's information regarding his Web2 and also his YouTube and things of that nature. So check us out. Make sure you subscribe and like, comment what you guys want us to talk about next time as well. But without further ado, I am out. Make sure you live by the code. Peace.
And live the play for fun and live the win.
Let's go.
Team Hakai. Live by the code.